Hello, I am Moonstone, and welcome to Anything Animation, where we talk about anything and everything animation. Today I want to talk about Bluey. So, Bluey is an Australian cartoon. You can watch it on Disney Junior or Disney Plus if you have it. As of right now, there are only 3 seasons, but it looks like there will be more. As of right now, it looks like there's no signs of stopping. So there might possibly be more by the time this video comes out. But yeah, so Bluey is a preschool cartoon. Bluey is a preschool cartoon, but what makes it different from its competitors like Dora the Explorer or Mickey Mouse Clubhouse or Peppa Pig is that it doesn't dumb down. So, if you watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse or Dora the Explorer, they baby the audience. They ask the audience questions, getting the audience involved and whatever they're doing. That is called traditional learning, asking the one learning questions and helping them out to get to the answer if need be. That's how teachers teach. That is how Dora the Explorer and Mickey Mouse, they are traditional learning. And they ask very simple questions, and it makes the adults who are watching it with their kids, they feel like they're losing brain cells because they can just look at it and they know the answer and they want to hurry up, but Mickey has to stop and explain it, and that's why a lot of adults don't watch preschool cartoons. Now, Peppa Pig doesn't do this. Peppa's dumbing down or babying of the audience comes in the form of the narrator. George is crying. Mommy Pig is coming this way. Peppa and Susie Sheep are best friends. I can see that. I have eyes that work. I don't need you to explain to me what's going on. I can see that George is crying. I know Peppa and Susie are friends. I don't need you to tell me, and kids pick up on this. Like, kids know when they're being talked down to, or when you're dumbing something down to them because you think they don't understand, and they hate that. It makes them feel like you think they're dumb, and then they won't ask for help when it comes to something important, because to them it just proves you right, that you think they're dumb, or you think that they don't understand. Bluey doesn't do that. Bluey doesn't over-explain simple things, and for the things that need a little explaining, they explain it in a way that isn't dumbing down. They just explain it normally, and then they ask the person that they're talking to, do you understand? And then the person, usually Bluey or another one of the kids, will either just say yes or no. And if they say no, then you say, okay, were you confused? And then they'll tell you, and then you can go, oh, and then that's it. And it's that lack of dumbed downness that isn't there. It's the lack of being dumbed down that when you watch Bluey, it doesn't feel like you're losing brain cells. And yeah, that is one of the reasons why it's so popular. And it's very rare that we get a show like this, especially a toddler / preschool show. Now, I want to talk about Bluey and why I think it's an everybody cartoon. Now, for those who don't know, an everybody cartoon is what it sounds like. It's a cartoon that anyone at any age can enjoy. There's something there for everyone. A good example of this is Adventure Time. The target audience for Adventure Time was young boys, and in the first few episodes, or in season like 1 or 2, you can really see that. But then, as the seasons went on, those boys, that specific target audience, obviously began to grow up. And instead of growing up and leaving a show like most do, the show started to mature. And it added a story as to why the land of Ooh is the way that it is, why the characters are the way that they are, which not only kept the people who started watching still watching, but it also, they had their target audience along with older people who are growing up, which made the target audience bigger. And soon people who are outside the target audience started watching, preteens, teens, adults, both boys, girls, and others. Everyone started watching because there was something there for everyone. And then when Adventure Time ended, Steven Universe began becoming the new everyone cartoon. The main character, Steven, is a young boy, and something you'll see a lot in animation is you can always tell the target audience by what gender and age the main character is. If it is a young boy, then a lot of people assume, oh, it's a boy's cartoon. If the main character is a girl, then they always assume, oh, it's a girl cartoon. And for some reason, kids' cartoons, they always get told not to go past the teenager age because they feel like if you make a cartoon about a college-age person or an adult, that kids won't watch. So teen is about as old as they can go, which is why a lot of kids' cartoons, the main characters are usually preteen or teenagers, which that's just something I picked up on from my years of just watching cartoons and liking cartoons. But yeah, because Steven is a boy, some assume, oh, it's a boy's cartoon, and there is action and battles and stuff that you normally see in a quote boy's cartoon. But then it also has themes of letting go. Where do I belong? Don't let the past define you. It's okay to not be okay. Don't bottle up your emotions. That's bad. Which are things that, everyone goes through at some point, but usually you see those themes and stuff in, quote, girls' cartoons. And Steven Universe has both these things, making it a kinda everybody cartoon. Yeah, everybody cartoon. There's something in there for everyone, rather you like this, that, or the third. There's something in there for everybody. And then when Steven Universe ended, everybody went to Gravity Falls, and Gravity Falls became the everybody cartoon, and then Amphibia, and now it's the Owl House since Amphibia just ended. Bluey, I think, is one of these everyone cartoons, and here is why. First, I'm going to talk about its target audience of toddlers and young kids. Then I'm going to move on to middle schoolers and preteens, and then I'm going to move on to teenagers and young adults, and then finally stopping at adults with no kids. So, with its target audience of toddlers and small kids, the kids aren't being belittled or talked down to like in other shows. Or in some cases in their real life by their parents, or guardians. By watching Bluey, they know their feelings, their thoughts, and their concerns matter, and the parent should respect that and acknowledge that. They can use what they learned in Bluey to explain to their parents, or guardians how they're feeling, what they're thinking, what's going on, and depending on how the parents, or guardian reacts, if they react in a similar way to Bandit and Chili, the mom and dad of Bluey and Bingo, if they react in a similar way that they do, then that will equal in a healthy parent and child relationship. And if they don't, the kid will pick up on it. They might not understand, but they will pick up on it, and then when they get older, that's when one day it'll click. Also, the show is very grounded in reality, The kids don't go to any magical worlds. They don't have any, there's no super magical element. The kids don't have superpowers that needs to be kept a secret because superpowers. The kids are just being kids, which makes it relatable not just to the kids watching, but everyone, since everyone was once a kid. It also kind of adds a bit of like wholesome and innocence to the show that some people at any age find appealing and nice. Now I'm going to up the ages and talk about why middle schoolers and teenagers like to watch Bluey. Like I've already said, there's a wholesome innocence to Bluey that anyone of any age, whether you're 12, 50, 60, or 17, can watch, including middle and high schoolers. I watched a few episodes for myself. I actually finished the whole thing a few days ago. And something that I noticed almost right away is the Bluey family, the Healer family, is a healthy, positive family. It's a healthy, positive, functioning family, and it made me take a step back because I had a realization that I've never seen a healthy, positive family before. Looking back on all the shows and cartoons I grew up on, a lot of, 90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s cartoons, I noticed a pattern in all of them. The parents will either fall into two categories: non-existent, or they're there physically but not there. The lights are on, nobody's home. And my examples for this is Ed, Edd n Eddy and Max and Ruby. Those are two shows that I watched as a child. I remember watching these as a kid, and where are these kids' parents? Not once in Ed, Edd n Eddy do we see any of the kids' parents, and actually I don't think any of the kids even mention or talk about them at all, except I think the only time you see a parent is in the pilot, except pilots don't normally count in shows normally. It's like a rough draft, so that's it. The closest thing we see to an adult in Ed, Edd n Eddy is Eddie's big brother. That's it. In Max and Ruby, I don't think they even mention their parents. I know they have a Grammy that stops by very often. Like, I think at the end of almost every episode she shows up. So there technically is an adult, but if they're left home alone so often, why doesn't the Grammy just live with the family? Or why doesn't she take Max and Ruby home? And how old is Ruby? Because she's being left home alone to take care of Max, who I assume is toddler age since he hardly talks. And there were some other shows like that where the parents just weren't there at all. Or you only saw their shadow, or they were there but you couldn't see their, face. Moving on to the second kind of parents, the ones who are there physically but not there in the brain. My two examples are Fairly Odd Parents and Danny Phantom. Again, two shows I grew up on as a youngin'. These parents should not have become parents. Timmy's mom and dad, yes, they're funny. It's funny to watch them act dumb, but when you look at it from a family dynamic, although the parents are physically there and you physically see them, which is a step up from most shows around this time, they aren't doing their job as parents. They're almost never home, leaving Timmy with Vicky, and it doesn't matter how many times Timmy says Vicky's evil, Vicky's mean. They keep hiring her, so they're obviously emotionally neglecting Timmy and not listening to him. And when he gets older, if there's a serious issue or something going on, he's not going to come to his parents, because why? They're just going to ignore him anyway. That's his way of thinking. That's going to be his way of thinking. Why should I tell you? You don't care. So Timmy's parents are obviously emotionally neglectful to Timmy, and possibly physically neglectful, since they're almost never around. I mean, I think there's a handful of episodes where they just don't show up at all. Danny Phantom, same thing. His parents are scientists. Okay, cool. They're always either doing sciencey things in the basement or they don't show up in the episode at all. And unlike Timmy's parents who call a babysitter, um, Danny's parents, they just rely on Jazz, Danny's big sister, to take care of him, which is sadly very common in real life, to rely on the older siblings to take care of all the young ones. Jazz shouldn't have to stop and drop everything she's interested in because she has to take care. So she has to take care and watch over Danny. And it's not just these cartoons. The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack. Flapjack, where are your parents? The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. The parents are physically there, but not mentally. And as a kid, you watch this and you think it's normal. You watch all these parents be bad parents, you think, oh, it's normal. It's normal for parents to call you by the wrong name. It's normal to have to remind your parents that your birthday is coming up. It's normal for your parents to make fun / belittle you for the things you're interested in, and it's not. That's toxic. And middle school and high schooler and adults, when they pick up on it, they're old enough to understand and they pick up on that. And when they watch Bluey, they see how families are supposed to act. They watch Bluey and how healthy, positive, functioning families act. Then they have like that realization, my family isn't healthy. Oh no, oh no. And seeing Bluey, a functional family, is kind of like therapy to them in a way. Not only does it heal the inner child, it also helps them become more in touch for the inner child, for those who had to grow up really fast. And that's actually the top 2 reasons why preteens, teens, adults with no kids all watch Bluey, because it helps them become more in touch with their inner child, and it also helps them heal their inner child. Another reason why preteens and teens really like Bluey is because it's very comforting. It helps you de-stress if you had a really bad day at school or when things are feeling overwhelmed. It helps you to relax. There's no high stakes. It's not super suspenseful, and everyone needs that every once in a while. It also makes you feel like a kid again, remembering the happier moments of their childhood or the parts that you had to miss out on for whatever reason. And it's very realistic. The kids talk like kids, they behave like kids because they are kids. The adults are having real conversations that you would hear in real life. Something else I found, another reason that, well, it's an any age reason. Yeah. Something else I found was at any age, is the any age reason that neurodivergent people, specifically people with autism, seem to really like Bluey, and as somebody who's on the spectrum, I completely see why. The show really helps with processing emotions, it really helps me with processing my emotions, because sometimes I'll emotion something new, and I'm not sure what this new emotion is, and then I can't describe it or do anything because it's new, so I get frustrated because I don't know how to express it. And then, which happened a lot when I was younger, because you're young, everything's new to you. You emotion something, you don't know how to express it, and then I would find a way to express it, and it would almost always be met with a "stop that. You're embarrassing me. This is why I can't take you anywhere. This is why I leave you at home all the time." And watching Bluey does help me to just calm down, to escape when things are becoming very overwhelming. It also helps me with how I'm supposed to react to certain situations. So when you have autism or you're just neurodivergent, sorry, you can't read rooms, you can't read facial expressions, you can't read social cues, so it's, yeah. So when it comes to socializing, I don't know what to do. I know what I want to do. I want to make friends, but how do I do that? And Bluey has been teaching me like how to respond to people and different situations and things, the proper way to respond, which would have been very helpful when I was younger. Yeah, Bluey has been teaching me that my voice matters, that I deserve to be heard, and my emotions and my thoughts and concerns are valid, and not just mine. Everyone's thoughts and concerns are valid. Everyone deserves to be heard, and everybody should have that chance to be heard. Now that we've talked about why preteens and teens watch Bluey with some any age reasons sprinkled in there, I'm going to move on to why adults with no kids watch Bluey. So the only reason I found that's just for the adults of why they watch Bluey is kids. So if you ask me, do you want kids? My answer will always be no. It will always be a no for me, and no matter how many times you tell me, oh, you'll change your mind, I used to be like that too. Once you meet the one, you will. No amount of hearing that will ever make me change my mind. But unlike me, there are other like adults who want kids but feel like they can't because of how they grew up. So, obviously, being scared of ending up like your parents is the number one fear of every parent, of every new parent, and every parent in general. But when you grow up in a toxic, unhappy, or even unsafe home, that fear of what if I turn into my parents turns into I can't have kids because if I do, I will turn into my parents. A good example of this is the movie Encanto. I'm pretty sure everyone has seen Encanto at this point, but that movie is about a generational trauma. The grandparent, Abuela, is toxic. She demands perfection out of everyone and everything, especially her kids. And then her kids become parents and either knowing it or not end up being toxic to their kids by not saying anything when they see the unfairness Abuela treats them, even going as far as having a favorite grandchild, Isabella, the one who makes flowers, because Isabella looks most like Abuela when she was young. And obviously Luisa, the strong one, and Mirabel, the main character, sees this and they think, I have to work extra hard to get Abuela's approval. Luisa even had a whole song about this, saying the lyrics, if I can't be I feel I'm worthless if I can't be of service, which is, that's concerning, that's very concerning. Yeah. So they feel like they have to work extra hard, and Luisa actually overworks herself for Abuela's approval. And Mirabel feels like she has to work hard because she doesn't have a gift. And it's not till near the end when Mirabel tells Abuela off, like saying, I'm never going to be good enough for you, no matter how hard I try. She says that, and then her parents finally step in and say, yeah, you're a bad grandparent favoriting your grandchild. What is wrong with you? Which, yeah, but you could have said that and put a stop to it once you've noticed this. Like, this has been going on for years and you never once stepped in to say anything. Why? Like, they knew about Abuela's favoriting. So why they let it go on for so many years? Why did it take so many years for them to finally say something? So many people from toxic, unsafe, slash unhappy homes, they believe they can't have kids because if they do, yeah, they can't have kids even if they want to, because they think they'll definitely 100% going to be just like their parents. Especially with generational trauma. The grandparents were toxic to the parents were toxic to me. If I have kids, I'm going to be toxic to them. And then they feel like the only way to break the toxicity is to just not have kids at all. Even doesn't matter how bad they want them, they feel as though they can't. And getting back to Bluey, Bluey's family, the Healer family, is a family of dogs, and they are a very happy, healthy, positive, functioning home. And for me, that was the first time I've actually seen a happy, functional family. And I'm not the only one. A lot of people, when they first watched Bluey, was actually their first time seeing a happy, functional family. And for the adults who want kids but feel like they can't, Bluey is basically teaching them that just because they came from a toxic family, just because you came from a toxic household, doesn't mean you can't. Just doesn't mean they themselves are toxic, doesn't mean they can't have kids. If they want one, they can. If they want a few, they can. Bluey gives those adults hope by showing them what a happy home looks like, and then they can watch Bluey and learn from it. Okay, this is how you're supposed to parent. This is a positive, happy, functioning home. I can learn from this, so when I do have a child, I know what to do. Yeah, it gives them hope that maybe one day, when or if they do have a kid, they can be a loving, positive, functioning family, just like the Bluey Healer family is. And that is why Bluey isn't a preschool cartoon, it is actually a everybody cartoon. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye!